For some, good afternoon. For some, good morning. And perhaps for some, good night. Right? Public speaking is an art. Okay? And someone may think, why do I need public speaking skills? Like if I want to become a football player, or I want to become an engineer like Lion Rizwan Qadri, why do I require public speaking skills? Okay? The answer is very simple. You require communication in any field that you select. I'll give you an example. You are a football player, right? Okay? BBC invites you for a news conference and interview, but you are unable to present. I had a fear. My fear of swimming. Not public speaking, I had a fear of swimming. Now, how do you sort out this fear of swimming? How? If I ask you, our distinguished guest, how can you overcome the fear of swimming? Thank you. What if I tell you right now, attend a seminar and learn how to swim? Or read a book and you learn how to swim. Is that possible? But you agree that seminars, books, YouTube videos are able to enhance your swimming skills? The same way, I say the same thing for public speaking. You want to succeed in public speaking, you have to publicly speak. Very simple. So, yes, seminars, conferences, books are very important. But you need to learn public speaking through publicly speaking. The same way with swimming. You can only learn how to swim if you dive into the pool. So I had a fear when I went into the pool. So I used to always love being in the pool, but putting my head underneath water, goodness, never. But my coach, day one, came, motivated me, inspired me, hardened me, and eventually I was able to swim. Therefore, this analogy is synonymous with public speaking. Next slide, please. Fine. So, communication is the backbone of any society. So, there's a term called glossophobia. How many of you know the meaning of glossophobia? Anyone? Leos? So, glossophobia is very simple. Phobia, what's the word phobia? Fear. Leos. Fear. Glosso, okay? The fear of public speaking. Exactly. Fear of public speaking. Thank you very much. So, a recent study showed that 77% of the world fear public speaking. 77% of the world. In some statistics, they actually showcase that people would rather die instead of speaking in front of people. That means you bring a gun and you bring a mic. I'd rather take the bullet rather than take the mic. So that's how people are scared of publicly speaking and delivering speeches. Okay, next slide, please. So, my question, is public speaking scary? Hello? Is public speaking scary? Yes or no? Okay, so again, there's a book by the name of A New Guide to Rational Living, co-authored by a psychologist called Dr. Albert Ellis. He says that it is not the event that is scary, it is our perception of an event. Let me give you an example. There's a show on Netflix, and you're a big fan, and that show suddenly comes to an end. And you're a student, but you love watching that show. So you don't study, you don't go out, you don't socialize with others. Even your parents, when they say, come out for dinner, you're like, no mom, no dad, I'm watching my show. That show comes to an end. Would you be happy, would you be sad? Sad. As a fan? Sad. Okay, so, okay, fine. Your parents, will they be happy or sad? Happy. Do you agree it's the same event? The show comes to an end. It's the same thing that has happened, right? But your perception, I'm very upset that the show has come to an end. But your parents, they'll be happy. That means it isn't public speaking that's scary. It's our perception of public speaking that either makes it scary or it can be the most beautiful thing in the world. Okay, next slide. So, okay, next slide, we go on. So, therefore, to become an effective speaker, say positive things to yourself. So, I want you all to say this along with me. I will be an effective public speaker. I am the best speaker in the world. Now, initially I was like, oh, just come on, I don't think I'm the best. But no, when you say these words, you're manifesting. And eventually you will become what you say. Ooh. Okay? Next slide, please. So, now, number one, okay? At the back there. Number one, why is public speaking important? Number one, it enhances your career. So if you're speaking at conferences, at events, at seminars, it is more likely that you will get a job. If you go for an interview, some people are very nervous before going for an interview. But if you are already apt in communication, if you are already proficient in speaking, so even when you go for an interview, it's something normal for you. Right? It's something normal, it's something casual. Yeah, I'm just going to interview, I'm just going to talk to my boss, likely boss, and that's it. So, career advancement and in the workforce. Fine. So, presentation, as your boss, organizations look for people who know how to speak. Many times when you tell people to speak, they back out. They're like, no, not me, why don't you try him? But what if you're someone who's willing, say, no, I'll do it, I'll speak. You want me to go to that conference, I'll go. You want me to give this sales presentation, I'll go. Companies look for people like you, number one. Number two, next slide please. Why is public speaking important? Number two, okay, becoming a thought leader. I remember Lion Rizwan, he attended one of the seminars that I was able to facilitate, and he actually taught the youth skills to enhance public speaking. So he said something very beautiful. He said, sometimes you have someone who has the title CEO, President, Managing Director, but that person may not actually be a leader. So when he said this, I said, okay, fine, Mr. Rizwan has said this. Then I came to realize that not only Mr. Rizwan, leadership coaches, renowned leadership coaches around the world have actually said this. And so Mr. Rizwan, so to be very honest, when we have leaders in Tanzania, sometimes we take them lightly. Oh, it's just Tanzania. No, these people are proficient leaders. They're experienced leaders, and when they share something, it's something substantial. So John Maxwell, in his book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, he says that leadership isn't about a position. Leadership is about influence. How much you can influence people. And we call that thought leader. So Joel Kurtzman, he actually highlights within his book that you can become a thought leader. How? If there is a crisis and people come to you in times of crisis, you are a leader, whether you have a position or not. Or if you're saying something and everyone in the room looks at you and says, man, that suggestion I agree with, then you are a leader. You are a thought leader. So when you are a speaker, let's gather our attention again, okay? Even I'm trying to gather my thoughts as well. Number three, why is public speaking important? You are able to change the world. So I always admired former President John Pombe Magufuli's ability to communicate. I would stay up late at night, listen to his talks, enjoy his speeches. Not only, all right, it's suddenly gone. So not only was he an effective leader, but he was able to communicate. Now let us be very honest here. Many of us who vote for leaders, we vote for them based on the promises they make. Do you agree or disagree? Hello? Agreed. But the reality is, that's not the reason why we vote for them. We vote for them because of how they communicate their promises. So Dr. Magufuli, not only was he an effective communicator, but he was also able to tackle corruption, his infrastructure projects. Why? Because he was able to communicate very clearly. In one of his last speeches, a month before his passing away, he made a statement. He said that in Tanzania, the court process, mostly the judge pronounces his verdict in English. Now, a lot of people do not know how to speak English. They may not be adequate in terms of speaking English. So when they receive the verdict, their interpretation may be different from the judge's interpretation. So Dr. Magufuli, in one of his last speeches, he urged the courts, please change the language from English to Swahili. Therefore, he left a legacy of investment, infrastructure. Why? Because he was able to communicate efficiently with the country. Okay, so if you engage in public speaking, you are able to make a difference to change the world. Number three. Next slide, please. Okay. Number four, you will be able to meet world leaders, network with valuable individuals. Me personally, I joined Lions Club. Why? To network with people, to learn from others. And I've learned a lot from Mr. Shabir Khalfan, Lion Shabir Khalfan, Lion Kulvinder Singh, Lion Rizwan, Lion Bakari. And the best part about this organization, Lions Club, it's very flexible. When I need them to come and speak at my events, they willingly do so with a smile. Therefore, you meet world leaders, you learn from them. These are pictures with lion leaders. We see a Lion Babul, Lion Manoj Shah. That's our Prime Minister Mheshimiwa Kassim Majaliwa. Now, again, this can happen to anyone. As long as you persevere, you have a passion for public speaking, you will succeed. So you will meet world leaders, people who add value to your life. Now, how to enhance one's public speaking skills? Next slide. Now, this is where the crux of the matter arises. How do you improve your public speaking skills? Number one, so I'll just talk about three ways to attain public speaking mastery. There are several ways. I would say there are hundreds of ways, but we will try and focus on 3. Number one, eye contact, body movement, and gestures. Now, if I ask you right now, if I were to ask you before seeing the statistic on the slide, amongst these 3, which is the most important? Number one, words, tone, or body language? Okay. Suhana? Tone. Okay. So nobody's saying words. Is it because of what you read? Okay. Yeah. I request everyone who's part of the meeting to just mute themselves. I guess they're all objecting to this point, perhaps. So 93% of your public speaking. So public speaking, there are 3 ways you can attain public speaking mastery. Number one, eye contact, body language, and gestures. According to statistics, it tells us, according to Mitesh Khatri, a communications expert, he outlines that 93% of your public speaking skills rely on your tone and body language, not your words. Now you would think, when I'm a public speaker, what matters? My content, my material, what I share with people, right? You would think words, but the reality is it's your body language and tone. Why? Very simple. I'll give you an example. If I tell you right now, I honestly really care for you, okay? I honestly really care for you. Okera, I honestly care for you. See, he has a smile on his face because I'm genuine, I am authentic, I'm sincere. But if I tell you right now, Sohana, I care for you, would you believe me? Do you believe? Oh, now you believe in me, all right. But generally, if I say, yeah, I care for you, come talk to me later. The same words, right? I care for you. It's the same words, but the tone that I have utilized are different. Therefore, eye contact, body movements, your gestures are very, very important. Next slide, please. Neither is it moving here. Okay. So, this is what he says. Communication is equal to, so remember this formula. You all remember these formulas, right, in school. So try remembering this formula. Communication is equal to 7% words plus 38% tone plus 55% body language. Next slide. Now this is interesting. If I ask you right now, are there ways where I can improve my eye contact, my body movement, my gestures? Is there any way I could improve? If it is done naturally, then it's fine. But there are many books. So Dale Carnegie has written a book on public speaking. He says you can never teach people how to have eye contact, how to move your body. Some people memorize their gestures, that if I say this, I'm going to do this. If I say this, I'm going to do that. No, it doesn't work that way. It has to come naturally. Now this, again, public speaking is subjective. What may work for you may not work for me. So next slide, please. Movements in their talk that you forget, what is he trying to say? What is she trying to say? You are more distracted by their body movements. So a speaker has to be effective in terms of body gestures, no doubt. Your gestures, your eye contact has to be effective, but it should not override your message. There has to be some sort of limitation. So that is one. Your eye contact, your body language matters. That's one. Skill number 2, to attain public speaking mastery. Next slide. Humor. Now, there's a difference between humor and starting with a joke. I'm not saying start your speech with a joke. A lot of youngsters start their speeches with jokes, and what if people don't laugh? their confidence declines. So don't start your speech with a joke, but try having a sense of humor, be joyous, be jovial. So for example, I'll give you a recent example. Right now when we had a few technical difficulties, a few technical issues, maybe if it was someone else, he would be super angry. That why is this the case? Why is this happening to me? No, you need to remain calm. These things happen. Turn an event that may be seen adverse into something that's joyous, something that's happiness. Now again, I'm not saying become a Kapil Sharma or a Chandler Bing or a Trevor. No, I'm not saying you need to become a comedian, but try using humor. Make people happy in your talk. Next slide. Okay, so there's a video I would like to show of former President Ronald Reagan and how he used humor in his speeches. Okay, so we'll watch a short video. Okay, so we have leaders who use humor to get votes. So in order to become an effective speaker, incorporate humor. Okay, next slide. Okay, fine. So there's something in public speaking called cognitive load. It's the content that you take in when you listen to a speech. Now sometimes there are people who get tired, they may yawn, or they may get a bit frustrated with the speaker. So how do you remove that frustration? Use humor. And humor elicits something called endorphins. They're known as optimistic hormones. So when you elicit endorphins, they are more comfortable to listen to a speaker. They're more happy when they listen to content that's given to them. Even in school, many students, they pass exams of a teacher they like. And when you ask them, why do you like the teacher? Oh, he has a very good sense of humor. Or she is very kind and very happy. Therefore, that's the importance of humor in a public talk. Okay? Number 3, start strong. Start your speech with perhaps a story, a quotation, a fascinating statistic. So I have had the fortune of delivering 2 TEDx talks. Okay, one at Masaki, the other one here at Urban Rose. And both my talks began with one thing, a story. I started my talk with a story and that kicked off the rest of the talk. Therefore, to give an effective speech, start strong. Some speakers, what do? They start mildly and then they say, wait, I'll pick it up. These days, the youth, their attention span, terrible. So what do? In order to elicit their attention span, start effectively. Commence strongly. Okay, next slide. So in conclusion, okay, to end my talk, public speaking will allow you to meet valuable people in your life, to meet people who are advantageous to you, and your mindset will change. Because when you start researching on topics, you start to critically think. You start to evaluate. Because what is public speaking? In order to be an effective speaker, you need to have content, right? How do you get content? Critically think, critically evaluate. And what were the 3 things? What did I say? Why is it important to gauge public speaking? Come on. Why is public speaking important? Career, very good. Anybody else? Engaging with others, meeting valuable people. Remember Dr. Magufuli's slide? What was the caption above? Okay, thought leader, excellent, and change the world. Excellent. There's one more bonus thing I'll share. Always come prepared. Some speakers say, oh, I'll go and I'll wing it. No, go prepared. Make sure you prepare adequately for your talk. You research, you read books, listen to lectures on the same subject from others. So always come prepared. Don't wing it. Now, I end my talk with this. I invite you all to join those who aren't members of Lions, those who are listening but they aren't yet members, and the Leos as well who are listening. They are potential lions, right? They're potential lions. I urge you all, when you are at that age to join Lionism, please join Lionism. Please join Lions Club International. I guarantee you it is the best decision you will make in your life. I joined, okay, so come on, a round of applause, okay? Okay, you will meet the best of leaders. You will engage. So we have so many great leaders around us here, okay? Great Leo leaders, right there. Leo Suhana, Leo Siddiqa, and then we have such a great MC. Ma'am, what's your name again? Sayyida. Oh, you've the one been communicating with me via email, huh? Okay, thank you, Sayyida. So we have potential leaders. And I urge you all to join Lions Club International so that you can give back. I end my talk with a quote from the Bible, The book of Acts, chapter 20, verse 35. It says, Jesus says, it is more blessed to give than to receive. In Swahili we say, ni bora zaidi kutoa kuliko kupokea. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Thank you very much.